Okay, so we said in the long run that we would adjust to this situation, where the firm is making just normal profit. The industry has an output of 10 million, the firm has an output of say 50 or something. So that's all very lovely, but what is the process through which that happens? So what we need to do is to disturb that equilibrium and then show how it might return. So let's imagine, for the sake of argument, that there is a sudden increase in demand. And this is the market for tomatoes, and I don't know, some TV celebrity chef goes on television and makes tomato this, tomato that. Everybody goes, ooh, tomatoes, 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 I must have more tomatoes. So the industry demand for tomatoes goes up to D2. And in the usual way of supply and demand, there's excess demand at the original price, and therefore price is driven up to, say, 15 quid. Fine. But what that means is that all firms in the market, they're all price takers, they all now charge 15 quid. So there is a new MR2 equals AR2 equals D2 at 15 pence. So how will the firm respond to that? So remember, we've now had a change in marginal revenue. That's going to change the profit maximizing output. And we have a two-step process. So firstly, we simply find where is MC equal to MR. It's there. Previously, we didn't want to make, so at 60 units. Previously, we didn't want to make 60 units. And the reason was that we were only being paid 10 quid, but the extra cost of those units was more than 10 quid. But now we're being paid £15. The extra cost is less than £15, so these units here that previously were unprofitable, the ones between 50 and 60, they're now profitable. So the firm increases its output to 60 units. So what we now need to say is, well, okay, presumably the firm's now making more profit. Originally it was making normal profit, now presumably it's making abnormal profit. So then we take step 2 and we say, well, okay, output is 60, price is 15. Well, that's fine. I can find my total revenue. My total revenue is 15, total revenue is 60 units times £15, which is 900 quid. And we can see that there. So, what are the firm's costs? This is the point at which everybody always draws this diagram wrong. So, pay attention. I am not interested in that cost because I'm not making that number of units anymore. I'm interested in what is the cost of making, on average, of making 60 units. So what I've got to do is kind of say, well, 60 units, where is the average cost of 60 units? And it's clear, there's the average cost curve. It's there. It's not at the minimum point of the average cost curve because that shows the cost of making 50 units. So for this firm, average cost, because of diminishing returns and so on, average costs have been driven up to 12 quid. But the firm doesn't care because the price is 15. The firm is therefore making a profit of 3 times 60 is £180. That's abnormal profit. Supernormal profit, whatever you want to call it, and that is a temporary equilibrium. That's a short-run equilibrium. Now, as we said, it's a temporary equilibrium. I mean, in the short run, nobody can do anything because they don't have any more fixed factors. But in the long run, we said, this is abnormal profit. New firms are going to want to enter this market. It's going to attract new firms, who want to take advantage of this. So in the long run, in the short run, industry output's gone up to, say, 15 million or whatever. In the long run, what's going to happen is new firms are going to start entering. So supply goes up to S1. Price is driven down to, say, £13. For the firm, the price goes down. They cut back their output to here, but they can still make abnormal profit. Therefore, firms will continue to enter. Supply will rise to S2. Price is driven down to £11. But compared with before, price is still above the minimum point of average cost curve. Therefore, firms can still make profit. So what's going to happen is that supply is going to continue to rise until we reach this point here, S3. Now, price has been driven back to the original level. It had been driven up to 15, now it's back down to 10. And what's happened is that therefore every time the price has dropped, the firm has cut back its output. So to start with, we were at A, Then the firm moved to point B, where MC equals MR is making a profit. And what's gradually happened, so we went from 50 to 60. What's gradually happened is that as new firms have entered the market, the firm's output has fallen back again. Until we return back to point C, which is the same as point A, where the firm can only make normal profit again. And now there is no incentive to enter the market. So what's happened is that the industry has got bigger, the firm initially got bigger, and then returned to its original size. So we end up with a market that has a larger number of firms that are all relatively small. Well, they're all the same. That's the assumption of perfect competition. So in the short run, price goes up, the firm can make abnormal profit. New firms enter, that drives up supply, drives down price until only normal profit can be made in the long term. So what about a shock that goes the other way? So let's put the firm, let's get rid of that vast number of lines, and put the firm back in a situation where it's making normal profit. So again, here's the industry. We'll call that 10 quid. There's the firm, D equals MR, M equals AR. We'll allow the firm just to make normal profits. So let's suppose that there's 10 quid for the firm, 50 units, some vast number there, doesn't really matter. Yeah, okay, we'll put a number like 10 million units. So what now happens? Let's suppose there is some sort of, oh my God, tomatoes cause cancer. Tomatoes are carcinogenic. What's going to happen is that obviously, demand for tomatoes, demand in the industries is going to drop radically. Demand drops to D1. So what does that do? Of course, at the original price, there's now excess supply. Therefore, price is driven down to, say, 6 quid. But firms are price takers, so therefore all the firms now have to accept that lower price of £6. Remember, if they try increasing the price, demand will fall to 0. So what's the situation for that firm? Price and demand and marginal revenue has fallen, therefore there's a new profit maximizing output because MR has fallen. So we apply our rules. Firstly, we find where MC equals MR. So now it's only profitable to make 40 units. These units here that used to be profitable, they aren't anymore because the extra cost is greater than the extra revenue. There's no point in making those units. The firm's revenue is therefore now 40 times 6, which is 240. But we've got a problem, which is at 40 units, the firm can no longer cover its costs. And again, this is where people go wrong. They like to shade in that little attractive white box, but that's not what's going on. We need to find the firm's costs of making 40 units. The average cost is no longer £10 because we're not making 50 units anymore. The average cost is now here at, say, £11. So the firm's costs are 40 times 11, which is 440. The firm's revenue is 40 times 20, which is 240. So therefore, the firm is now making an economic loss of that amount, which is bad news. So in the short run, all these firms are doing very badly. They're making losses. They're suffering. They're thinking, oh my God, I wish I could go and be a waitress in a cocktail bar or whatever. So what starts to happen is that some firms start to leave the market. So industry supply starts to fall. So it falls to, say, S1, and price is driven up to, say, £8. But that's not good enough, So for the firms that remain, price is 8 quid, demand is there, but they're still not able to make a profit. Price is still below average cost. Therefore, firms are going to continue to leave, again, until normal profits can be made, until we reach S2, when price has been returned to the level of £10, and the firm is back where it started, or the remaining firms. So we start at point A, where MC equals MR. MR falls, because of the reduction in demand, so we have a short-run equilibrium at point B, and then slowly, as the price rises, output rises back to where we came from, and we end up back at 50 units. So we end up with our long-run equilibrium again, where obviously supply always equals demand. The firm is back there. Yeah. So the long run equilibrium in perfect competition, yeah, MC equals MR, the firm can just make normal profits. So you need to be able to show those shifts clearly and be very careful when you're shading the profit. Don't get sucked in, by the minimum point of the average cost curve. And also don't assume that the firm always produces at the minimum point of the average cost curve either. Yeah. So, just as a reminder, it's that two-step process. Yeah, don't get sucked in, by the minimum point of the average cost curve. Firstly, we find MC equals MR, and if MR shifts, what that means is that the output is going to change. Q star will change, and then at Q star, what's average revenue and what's average cost at the new output, if there is a new output. Not at the old output.